All right, we got through the FOMC. The markets obviously liked what happened at the FOMC yesterday, so you can see the bubbles are actually looking amazing. But as good as these bubbles look, I mean, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the returns that altcoin investors have had since December. Because if you look at the returns since the 7th of December, you can see that the others chart, which is the majority of the altcoins, are still down 26% even after this pump. And so I think today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is, how do we get back the losses that we've made in January? January may have been a decent month for Bitcoin, but it was a brutal month for altcoins. And we need to think of a way of getting back the returns that, or getting back the losses that we made in January. So today is about what I'm doing to claw back all the losses that I made in January, and I'm also going to show you what my portfolio looks like going into February. I'm going to reveal my whole portfolio to show you exactly how I'm positioning myself to maximize my chances of making back all the losses that I actually made. So if you did make losses in Jan, then I suggest watch this show. If you feel like you're burning, then I suggest watch this show, because I'm going to break it all down for you. I'm going to put all the cards on the table. And again, like, I could sit here as like some influencers and tell you, wow, we've made billions and millions. No, but we haven't. January was brutal. We were in the altcoins. We need to make sure that we now claw back our losses. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you step by step how we're going to do it. If that makes sense to you, what you need to do, you know the story. You need to like this content. Obliterate the like button. Also, if you're not already subscribed, then you are not one of the 1.151390 million. Let's go for it. There we go. That's the spirit. That's it. There we go. I like to see it. All right, come on. I feel like I'm at the casino, I think. Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, baby. All right, let's go. So let's get the show on the road. Lots of alpha here today. That put me in a good mood. Welcome to the family, to all our new subscribers. There are quite a lot of you, like 500 of you just subscribed. It was absolutely amazing to watch. Welcome. We've got a big high alpha show today. And you know what? Sometimes the alpha is just to talk about how to claw your way back from losses. You know, it's pointless to sit here and put on a facade and to say, we made money and we pumped. January was brutal, guys. It was brutal. Yes, I know if you look at the Bitcoin returns and you say, okay, well, January was actually like a normal month for Bitcoin. 12.28%. It wasn't a great month for Bitcoin, because if you look at normal Januaries on the post-halving year, in 2017, we got an 11.8% return. In 2021, we got 103% return. So this one looks much more like the 2017 cycle. That's super important that you remember that, right? Because I want to show you what happened later on in 2017. What we know is that this cycle, from a Bitcoin point of view, looked exactly like this quarter is looking much more like the 2017 quarter than it's looking like the other quarter. From a January point of view, Bitcoin did okay, but the rest of the market, I mean, just look at this. Let's look at ETH. If you put it onto ETH is minus 2.36%. In January in 2017, which is a post-halving year, ETH did 31.9%, and in 2021, it did 80%. So what we can say is that this January wasn't the same as every other January. And if you were out there like us and you were trading in the altcoins, you looking at the altcoins chart now, and you're saying on the 7th or the 6th of December, we were here, and now we are here. And even after this recovery, we're still 26.4% down on our altcoin investments. Now, 26.4% down doesn't sound like a lot until you say that is a quarter of the entire altcoin market was wiped out during January in what is supposedly a bull market. This is like the biggest, like the worst bull market I've ever experienced. I don't know about you guys, but that to me is not a bull market. When 25% gets obliterated or destroyed off the altcoins, that is a terrible January. And so if you're sitting here and and you're thinking to yourself like you're about to give up, or you cannot believe the pain that you felt in January, just know that you're not alone. Just know that you're not alone. Just know that everybody's here. But the idea is to try and recover those losses, and I'm going to show you exactly how I intend to recover those losses. And that's what the show is about. So if it makes sense to you, you know what to do. Obliterate the like button. Let me get into the alpha. There's a lot to do. It's not. Someone says, Mount Fitness, is this pre-recorded? No, this is not pre-recorded. That's not pre-recorded. Someone says, life in Dubai. You guys guessed which hotel I was in Dubai. More likes equals more alpha. Shinobi, this is definitely a live show. You can see I'm pretty much reading your comments right here, right now, live. Someone says, Little Teeny says, oh man, I'm mentally capitulating. Don't capitulate now. Now this is not the right time to capitulate. Anyway, let's go. Ron's alpha has been terrible, terrible, terrible. I guess, sure, I'm not a fortune teller, right? I'm not a fortune teller, but I'm going to show you how to recover. I actually want to know who actually did give good alpha in January, because it's easy to give good alpha when the markets are going up. Who managed to give good alpha when the markets were actually moving sideways? I don't know many people, I've got to be honest. I don't know many people. Anyway, let's go. For those of you who want to watch the rest of the show, let's go. So the markets liked the FOMC meeting. We're back above 105,000, and the reason why they liked the FOMC meeting is because it was a hawkish, it was a dovish meeting. We initially, there were some concerns around the fact that they removed a section in the statement, and that section that they removed said inflation has made progress towards the committee's 2% objective. They removed that in the statement. But when Powell was quizzed about it later, he said the only reason why we removed it is to shorten the sentence, and we actually do see progress towards the 2%. But then he also went on to say that we don't need inflation to get to 2% in order to reduce rates again. We just need to know that it's going in the right direction. And so that made the market a little bit more bullish. As it stands, quantitative tightening continues. They said the committee will continue reducing its holdings of treasury bills and agency debt and mortgage-backed securities. Reducing its holdings means they are selling their stuff back into the market, and they are taking money off the market. So there's probably 2 more phases based on this before we get into alt season. Right now, they are still tightening the balance sheet, which means that they are still taking money out of circulation. Then there are going to be periods where they do nothing, and then there are going to be periods where they actually start quantitative easing. So we're nowhere near quantitative easing. So if you're waiting for quantitative easing in order to begin alt season, then you may have to wait quite a bit longer than you originally anticipated, because they are still in the tightening phase. Now, I know the crypto bros are telling you that it's going to go from tightening to easing. And they're just going to take the switch and they're going to go from tightening to easing. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It works like you tighten, and then you stop tightening, and then you pause, and then you ease if you need to ease. And that is how the Fed actually does it. And that is how the Fed actually does it. So after that, what we realized after FOMC is that the market actually got more bullish. We saw a whole lot of new leverage being actually taken in the market immediately after that. The market's still pricing in 2 rate cuts this year, even though the Fed only priced in 1 in the previous meeting. And so that was the big news of yesterday. The other big news of yesterday, which I think went under the radar because it was on the FOMC meeting, is that Tesla actually didn't sell any of its Bitcoin. But that isn't the big news, right? The big news is that with the new FASB rule, and remember that Michael Saylor petitioned hard to get the accounting rules changed so that MicroStrategy could account for its profits and its losses on Bitcoin, where previously they could only account for their losses on their balance sheet. Now, with this new rule change, the Bitcoin value that went up, the Tesla Bitcoin value that went up, actually gave them a $600 million gain in profits. And that made their profits look so good. And now, I mean, for that and a whole lot of other reasons, obviously their share price is actually going up. So people are starting to understand the power of actually holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So that was yesterday's bullish news. Now let's move on to the elephant in the room, and that is the returns. I mean, it hasn't been a great month of returns, as I said. For Bitcoin, it's been okay. Bitcoin had a 12% month. In 2017, it was negative. 2021, it was. So it has been okay. The problem is the altcoins. The problem is that when we go down to ETH, and we see ETH is currently looking at a negative month for January, where it stands right now. And everyone is sitting in the same position. And the position that they're sitting in is that they basically all sitting here and losing money. And I don't know about you, but I haven't met many people that have made a lot of money in January. In fact, there are some people that have made a lot of money in January, but they weren't the ones trading these altcoins, which are the ones that are which are cited or which are included in the others, right? Which is the ones that we're actually trading, and that is the top 100, top 200, top 300. Those aren't the people that actually landed up making money, right? You can see that, and hopefully January was the low, and hopefully we repeat this pattern that we had in 2025. Now, the reason why I say we repeat the pattern that we had in 2025, if you look closely at the 2017 pattern, you can see it's different from the 2021 pattern. In 2021, it was a sharp down and it was a sharp up, and then we continued, right? In January 2017, which this cycle is closer resembling, you can see that we actually stayed along the bottom for quite a bit longer. So let me actually just bring up this chart here so you can actually see it. Others divided by BTC USD. Let's quickly just get this chart up here. And let's actually go to the weekly. Okay, others. Let me know in the comments if you've made or if you've lost money in January. I just want to know where we stand. I want to know who are the liars and who are not the liars. That's what I want. I want to understand who are the liars here and who are not the liars. So, if you look at the pattern over here, you can see that in 2021 we bottomed on the 4th of Jan, and then it was kind of like straight up from there. In 2017, it was slightly different. We bottomed on the 26th of December, and we actually moved sideways until about the 20th of Feb, slightly sideways and slightly up until about the 20th of Feb. And so it looks like we are following a 2017 cycle more than we are following a 2021 cycle. And I'll show you in a second why that's so important. Anyway, hopefully we follow the patterns that we've had before. Now, if you look at 2017 and 2021, we bottomed pretty early in Feb. So we bottomed on the 9th of Feb, and here we bottomed on the 1st of Feb. And so Feb is usually a month where we bottom pretty early, right? So hopefully we repeat that cycle and we repeat a 2017 cycle. But let's review who actually made money in Jan. Now, I know some of you in the chat are saying that you made money in Jan. I'm gonna classify you into 3 groups, right? One is the people that are liars, and they plain can't admit themselves or their wives that they lost money in Jan, and so they're just commenting here and they're saying we made money. So look, I can also do that. I can just say made a ton of cash. Okay, I can also do that. Oh man, I also made a spelling mistake. I made a ton of cash. So I can also do that, but it's not true, right? So there is a bunch of people here who are lying. Then there is a bunch of people here that got lucky and actually got lucky. Then there's another bunch of people here. And the bunch of people that did land up making money in Jan, there is a cohort of people that actually made money in Jan. I want to show you who they are, and I want to show you how they made money, right? So if we review the month of Jan, the way to look at Jan, and I'm going to make this a bit bigger because I know some of you are watching this on a mobile phone, but if you look at what happened in Jan, it was all about being in the trenches. It was Trump coin, it was Melania coin, it was Vine, it was the VVV airdrop, it was Jelly, which is the new token that launched today. So the people that made money in Jan were either leverage long Bitcoin investors, or they were people that were deep in the trenches and they caught Trump and they caught Melania and they caught all these on-chain launches, because the money that was made in Jan wasn't made on the centralized exchanges. By the time Trump and Melania and everyone else got onto the centralized exchanges, the money was already made. The real money in Jan was made in the trenches. So if you were in the trenches, congratulations, you landed up making a lot of money. You made money on Trump, you made billions and billions and billions of dollars. There was money to be made on Melania before her token went to $334 million market cap, which is like pretty much not existent. Then there were those who made money on Vine, right? And most recently, the the people that made money were the ones that made money in the last 24 hours, and they made this money on this new token called 𝗕𝗤𝗕, and we'll talk about what 𝗕𝗤𝗕 is in a second. But I think this is the tweet that summarized it. It said, starting to get expensive, spending time out of the trenches. Coins running between 7K and 200 million almost daily. That is where the money was made in January. And now you've got to ask yourself a question. And I'm going to answer the same question for you. Why aren't you in the trenches? Why are you not in the trenches looking at the on-chain launches and trying to make money out of these on-chain launches? And I'll answer it for you guys because I think we all know what the reasons are, but let's just recap what the reasons are. For me, I'm not in the trenches because I don't have time. I'm running a business, I've got to do shows. I cannot sit and watch these tiny little launches and spend $500 or $1,000 per launch. I don't have the time to do that, right? Now, there are people that can do it. I mean, 𝗕𝗘𝗡 made a lot of money. He was in the trenches. He made a lot of money on a couple of tokens. He also lost on some tokens, but that is the people that are in the trenches. I don't have the time to be in the trenches, but I want to show you a solution to that in a couple of seconds. If I did have the time to be in the trenches, maybe I would have picked up on this launch today, which is called 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕. For those of you who don't know what 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 is, it is a coin that was launched by the co-founder of Venmo, and he wanted to raise capital for a new product that he actually launched, which is this 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 product, which he actually launched. And for those of you that want to know what it is.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Sam and I excited to announce the 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 coin. Sam was the first investor in Venmo, which me and a friend started, and now we're launching a 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 coin to support the 𝗕𝗤 creators on the 𝗕𝗤 app. What we're making right now is a 𝗕𝗤. It's a way for people to share content with each other. So the 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 coin is something that gets you access to the app, and we're going to build it into our ecosystem. So
𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 is this new app. The app is where three friends can make content together. And instead of going to TradFi, what he went and did was he launched a pump fund token. Okay, so I mean, gives you an idea of a new trend that's actually starting to happen, where investors, where founders, instead of going to TradFi investors, this guy raised money for Venmo before, said, why the hell am I going to TradFi investors? I'm just going to go to fucking crypto. It's much easier to raise money in crypto. And that's exactly what he did, right? So he went there and he raised a whole lot of money. And I think this is a new trend that we're starting to see in crypto, is these Web 2 founders. Not the first one. We had the guy from Vine come onto crypto and raise money from crypto, right? So it's these Web 2 founders that have got these amazing ideas, and they're going, well, why should I raise money in traditional VC channels? The whole idea behind blockchain was to democratize investing and to let everybody be able to invest, not just the VCs. And I'm going to go and do that in crypto, right? And so that is exactly what happened. And a lot of people actually landed up making a lot of money on this 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 token, including a couple of things. Now, this is very, very, very important that you understand this. The first cohort of people that landed up making a lot of money on this 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 token were the people that use TrenchBuddy. TrenchBuddy is the AI agent that monitors wallets, and he's your TrenchBuddy basically. We call TrenchBuddy very, very low. We called it at a $4 million market cap, but now people are starting to see that these AI agents actually have value, and things like TrenchBuddy can actually be an AI agent to help you, basically, right? So an AI agent that can actually land up helping you. The other cohort of people that landed up making money, and I got a lot of these messages this morning. You can see these are just, I took screens of my WhatsApp. This is my wallet, got in at 20 million, had two targets, a 4x and a 5x, and I'm still holding the moon bag. That's from a friend of mine that used Dexcelerate. He landed up making money. Here's another one called, this one got it very, very early. He made a 1,363x. He called it at $148,000, and the market cap now is $201 million. That's another person that landed up catching it on Dexcelerate. You can see here someone says, Ash, you're a fucking genius, bro. Since I've joined Dexcelerate and followed up, I'm nearly 5 sold up. It's been a week, can't thank you enough. Now, again, Dexcelerate don't sponsor our shows. They don't sponsor these shows. But it is a tool that can help you make money on chain while you are sleeping. These guys made money while they are sleeping. And literally the way they did it is that you go to Dexcelerate. Let me just open a new Dexcelerate so you guys can see it. So you go to Dexcelerate, and what you can see here is you can literally go and find the channels or the people that knew about this alpha first, right? So one way you can do it is you can just go to 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕. Let's just go to 𝗕𝗕𝗕𝗕. Here it is. And you can actually, there's a list. Okay, so the callers list is not working now. There is a bug here where they usually here, you have a list of callers. Let me see if it's maybe under a different pool. Let's just have a look here. So 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓. Okay, let's just have a look here. Let's just have a look. The volume here is lower. Let's just see if we can find the callers here. Okay, so what you can do is you can just go to scanner and you can go to channels and you can go and look for the channels that had the highest returns. Like for example, 𝗙𝗏's gem calls. You can click here, I'm sure. So these guys called 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 at $35 million. And literally what you can do here is you can actually copy trade. So you can actually go and create a bot on Dexcelerate that copy trades these guys. And you can set all the rules, right? So you can, when you set the bot, so you can, for example, if you want to, sorry, let's just let it scan. Okay, so if you want to like copy trade these groups that are making all these channels that are making all these calls. So let's look for example of another one. I know there was one called Ape. That's the one where they made the money. So Ape Zone. So Ape Zone called it. You can see they've made amazing calls on Ape Zone. So you can literally use Dexcelerate to copy trade Ape Zone, right? You can literally create use Dexcelerate to create a bot that will trade this, and you could eventually execute a trade like this where you get in, you set your TPs and your stop losses, and you can get out. Now, if you want to go and use Dexcelerate, there's a link here. Use Dexcelerate. Just try it. See if it works for you. Here we go. So you go to this link over here. Use this link. Otherwise, if you go to a fake link, it's on you. And I know there's a whole lot of Dexcelerate fake links doing this. But literally, you can use this platform to copy trade these groups. You can say, I want to go and I want to buy any call made with Ape Zone, and I want to spend X amount of SOL, and you can basically do that. So for me, that's the one way that you can make money, being in the trenches. And the thing is, if you don't have time, like me, to be in the trenches, that's fine, I get it. But then set the rules on Dexcelerate and let Dexcelerate be in the trenches for you, and follow the groups. So keep following these groups. Literally, just for those of you who don't know, you go to scanner, you go to channels, and it'll give you all the channels that have made calls in the last, I've got a setting here on the last 24 hours, and it'll literally give you a list of all the channels that have made money. Let's just quickly refresh that. Let's go back to terminal, just quickly go scanner. I'm using Dubai hotel internet, and it's not proving to be the best internet in the whole world, but let's go see. Anyway, so you'll use the scanner. Once you use the scanner, you'll see the groups that actually call the shit, and then you can actually be much more in the trenches. So that's one strategy that you can use. Okay, there it is. There's a list of things, and you can literally just go and say, I want to follow 𝗙𝗏's gem calls. I want to follow. I'm sure 𝗕𝗏𝗙𝗙𝗢𝗙 diary also called 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕. Here we go. 𝗕𝗏𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗢𝗙 diary actually called 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 as well. So one way to recover your losses is to actually use an on-chain trading tool like Dexcelerate. Someone says, what wallet connects to Dexcelerate? Phantom wallet, Coinbase wallet. Someone says, stop shilling memes. Listen, the money is being made in the trenches, like it or not. I mean, also my portfolio, you'll see in a second, is very much not a portfolio that is a meme heavy. But if you want to be an on-chain trader and you don't have the time to be in the trenches, then rather copy trade the groups that are in the trenches. So here is a link. Go and mess around with it. Put $50 in and just test it so that you actually learn how to actually trade in the trenches. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do in Feb to make money back is actually to buy tokens that have catalysts or announcements, right? So if you look here, you can see here that Jupiter had their event on the 26th of Jan, right? And you can see that the market absolutely exploded here when they made a whole lot of announcements at the event, right? So what you can say is you can say something like, I'm looking for tokens that have massive catalysts or massive events in February. And there are a few that I want to show you. So the one that I want to show you is Ondo. Ondo has an event which is coming up in a week. It is a massive event. It's not a small event. You can see it over here. There are massive speakers at this Ondo event, which is taking place in New York. Here is a list of the speakers. You can pretty much see there's a lot of speakers, but here's a good summary for you. So you got BlackRock's Chief Investment Officer. You've got Caroline Butler from BNY, head of digital assets. You've got Fidelity. You've got a whole lot of TradFi people coming to talk at a real world asset token summit in New York City. And so that's probably one that's going to have a catalyst. So we can just look at what Ondo has been doing. I'm sure that Ondo has actually been doing quite well before. Here we go. So Ondo is starting to recover. So this might tell you that Ondo may actually do well because there's a conference exactly like the same thing happened with Jupiter, right? The next token that's having also remember with Ondo's already had all their token releases, and we think that Binance may list it. There's a lot of accumulation in Binance wallets of Ondo, and it's not listed yet. So yeah, I think that's probably one to look at. The next token that is having a event in February is actually 𝗪𝗡𝗡. Now, you know that 𝗪𝗡𝗡 has been quite a disappointing investment for a while, right? And the reason is we know that there's been some sellers into the in the market. But they're having their big launch on the 8th of Feb, which is about a week and a half away. This is their big launch. And their launch is around the first hyper-parallel computing infrastructure, which is built on the 𝗪𝗡𝗡 network. For those of you where that sounds like a mouthful, what that is, it is a supercomputer which stores information forever. And the information that it stores forever, they've now built a supercomputer on top of it, which means that, and the supercomputer it allows for hyperparallelism, which means that it's very, 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 very fast. Then, and the only way to get tokens in AO is to own 𝗪𝗡𝗡 tokens. So you'll end up with 𝗪𝗡𝗡 tokens and AO tokens. So it's almost like getting an airdrop if you hold the one and if you hold the other. And there's no other ways to get it because there's no VCs that invested in AO. And there's also a lot of total value locked. There's a massive total value locked. They've got about almost $1 billion in TVL. So that's another one that has an announcement in Feb. A third one that has an announcement in Feb is an AI player, which is 𝗕𝗘, right? So you've got 𝗕𝗘. 𝗕𝗘 is 𝗕𝗘𝗓. 𝗕𝗕𝗓 is the massive AI infrastructure in crypto, proven to be one of the best AI infrastructures in crypto. And they have a catalyst. And what is the catalyst? They have what they call dynamic 𝗕𝗘. Dynamic 𝗕𝗘 means, I'll break it down for you. It's a staking system is getting closer to what you need to know. Dynamic 𝗕𝗘 puts you in control of network emissions. Instead of validators deciding where your stake goes, you directly choose which subnets to actually support. Each subnet now has its own token. When you stake 𝗕𝗘 to a subnet, you receive the subnet token in return. In other words, instead of staking 𝗕𝗘 and you now get tokens in the subnets. And the tokens are based on dynamic pricing of a token. So moving on to 𝗕𝗘 Dynamic, Bitget's most significant upgrade since the network inception. In a nutshell, it transitions emissions distribution from trusted capital allocation by a few validators. Each AI market will operate its own token, and emissions will flow based on the relative prices of the token. So you're now starting to invest in this whole bunch happening. Then the last token that has, and I think if you want to get into 𝗕𝗘, you should probably look at 𝗕𝗘 and 𝗕𝗏bot. So 𝗕𝗏bot is the exchange on 𝗕𝗘, which is, so you can see great patterns here. You got a wedge here, you got a wedge here, you got a wedge here, and all these upward movements. I think this 𝗕𝗏bot is probably quite a good one to actually get involved in. Then the last one that actually has a big catalyst is Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is like the darling of the cycle now. It really has become the darling of the cycle. And the reason is that they have the rumored EVM launch in Feb. Now, EVM means that they're now going to be interchangeable or interoperable with Ethereum or all the EVM networks, that's quite big, right? So that's happening now in Feb. And on top of that, this one has all the right narratives because this one actually makes a lot of fees, right? And so here you're getting a token that has all the right narratives and is making up a whole lot of fees, and it's taking those fees and it's actually buying tokens back on the market. So if someone says here, Jupiter will be buying $10 million worth of tokens per month. Hyperliquid buys $2 to $3 million worth of tokens per day. And so Hyperliquid really is the darling of the cycle. And if I look at it now, Hyperliquid I think today was very close. It's up 21%. It's 27.50 ahead of this catalyst. So again, how do you make money in Feb? Well, number one, be in the trenches. If you can't be in the trenches, well then get a tool like Dexcelerate to help you be in the trenches, or get into tokens with announcements. Now, I was going to spend some time. I was going to spend some time going through a portfolio or going through what my portfolio actually looks like. But I think we should rather take some time, and I'll do a full show either tomorrow or on the weekend, where we actually talk about the specific tokens and why I'm allocated like this, specifically if there's no alt season that's coming, right? So that we'll look at thing. So I think that's pretty much it from today. I think there's a lot of people in the chat today, a lot of salty people in the chat. Maybe we should address some of the salt here. Someone says, what happened to 𝗕𝗘𝗧? What happened to 𝗕𝗘𝗧 was the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗕 basically sold all his projects and shut down the project. And as much as we try to help the guys, they don't want to be helped. We try to help them. I even gestured to fund them for 2 or 3 months. But the truth is that team wasn't a great team. So we're out. We did actually end up we didn't make money on 𝗕𝗘𝗧, or we didn't make as much as we wanted to on 𝗕𝗘𝗧. We made a very little bit of money there because we round-tripped the whole thing. We really round-tripped the whole thing. Should we? Yeah, let's ban the salty people. Should we just ban them forever? Isn't there a button? Let's see. I actually want to see. Yeah, there's people. Yeah, we can just ban them forever. Let's see if we can ban them from the channel. Let's see. Can we ban them? Let's see. Let's wait for some salt, and then together we can read the salt and we can just ban the people. That would be fun. We can do it. Come on. Where are the salty people? Hello, salty people. You see, this is one of our researchers. Says that the research team did a great job today. Do you think the research team did a great job today? So let me know in the comments. Where are all these guys? We don't need to report them. We can just ban them from the channel. Come on, we can just add them from the channel. We just ban them. We don't need them yet. We really don't need them yet. Hold on, the Dexcelerate team are sending me messages. Have they found another? Yeah, I'll show you just a couple of groups in Dexcelerate. So here are a couple of groups in Dexcelerate that actually landed up calling. These groups all landed up calling 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕. So now, again, you can easily just go and copy trade these groups. 𝗙𝗘𝗧, Ape Zone, Queen's Journal, Life Diary. They all, let's quickly go to these. Let's quickly just go to these groups. So let's go to channels. Over here, okay, I'm on channels. Let's just see if we can do scanner channels. Okay, so here's 𝗙𝗧𝗧 gem calls. Let's see. So this guy in the last 24 hours has had 2 calls. He's had 38.2x. Let's just see what the calls were. Okay, why is it not? Let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. Sorry, I'm on Dubai Hotel Internet and it seems to be sticky. Groups are not consistent. Yeah, look, no group's perfect, but you can see. Oh, okay. Now, you see, now the internet's completely blocked me here. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so let's try on this one. Let's see, the internet just seems to be very sticky, but let's try. So here's 𝗙𝗧𝗧 gem calls. You can see that they've made one call today. They've made 2 calls today. One was they called at 17.05 million, they called this ICM token, and this one they called 𝗕𝗤𝗕𝗕 at 35 million. So again, you can just set rules to follow these, and you can set your stop losses and everything using Dexcelerate. So just try it. It should be fun. Anyway, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got another big show. Until then, trade well, my friends.